Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to X-Plane 12, and welcome to the Aero Basic Embraer Phenom 300. We're going to give this aircraft the full normal sample gambit as we always do, starting first and foremost with textures, moving on to the different soundscapes and options that this aircraft offers, and then obviously getting up for a quick and short flight from Lake Tahoe over to Reno, Nevada. So a quick short flight, but without further ado, let's begin. Okay, so this is my first aircraft of any kind by this dev, and I'm happy to report that it's a relatively well-made aircraft. It almost reminds me of my level of pleased, or I don't know, satisfaction I saw with the original Coronado Embraer Phenom 100. Or, geez, I think that was back in X-Plane 9, maybe 10. Overall, it's a very nice, well-rounded aircraft, confined within the limitations graphically and so on of X-Plane 12. We obviously know it's not quite as pretty as FS 2020 or the upcoming 2024. But all in all, I think it looks pretty good. I'm going to do two things here really quick before we keep going with the walk around. I'm going to turn on ground power. And I'm going to turn on our nav lights. Oh, I'm going to do three things, actually. I'm going to get rid of the static elements also. There we go. Now we've got a better aircraft to look at a little bit closer. And yes, I'm still using that same method, garbage method of locomotion. Sue me if you must. All in all, I think it's pretty okay. I don't know what's going on with the reflection on the fuselage with the pitot tubes. That might just have to do with my reflection settings in the sim. I'm not 100% certain, but that's maybe something to be mindful of. All the polished surfaces look great. The leading edges, the engine cowls, all that stuff. Reflections look, for the most part, pretty good. They're obviously a lower poly than what the actual aircraft is. You've got a little bit of dirt and dust accumulation, which I like to see. I don't like my aircraft to look fac new when I get them. Because, I mean, how often are you doing it? Now, granted, this is a business jet, so you would expect it to be a higher level of clean than like a Cessna 172 or something. And I think this represents what you would see fairly well. Got that noise abatement rear end. I don't know exactly what engines the Phenom 300 uses. I'm guessing just by the size of them that it's probably a Rolls-Royce or similar engine. Let's see if I can't get us a nice look down the center there. But it does, at least in my opinion, look pretty alright, the aircraft as a whole. Obviously, X-Plane 12 being the most current offering. A little bit of texture degradation right here in these couple of seams. And obviously a little bit too once we zoom in on those rivets, but you step back to here and I think they look okay. Maybe a little bit farther, but coming up on the tail of the aircraft, there's that beacon. It's off right now. Odd looking internal texture there, not really sure what's going on with that. I think the nav light had something similar as well. Got a GPU running, that's native to the aircraft. So is that fuel panel we had open also, actually. Baggage compartment's open as well. We'll close the rear baggage for now. Fuel cap looks okay. Get maybe tails just a little bit compared to the rest of the overall airframe. Then we do have those same limitations of the lighting effects in X-Plane 12 as well. Trailing edge nav light, I think it's got that same oddball, yeah, effect on there. Not super huge on that. Then we'll come over to the front end of the aircraft as well. I don't know why X-Plane's stuttering either. All in all, I think it looks okay. Let's head inside. We'll take a closer look at the cockpit momentarily. But we're going to head back. It has a very nicely modeled rear cabin, which we will see in 3, 2, 1. Look at that. It's a very nicely modeled rear cabin. So you've got dual side, God, flight sim, that's a accidental slip. You've got dual side tables. One has the coffee cup and then the other has just a mirror of the EFB that we're currently using. And then behind all of these little panels here is the same control. Lets you change the cabin lighting, turn it on and off. Obviously we're bright daytime right now, so you're not really going to see a whole lot for the upwash. And then you can also close all of the blinds. Look at that. And then you can open them. But if you wanted to say close some of the blinds over here because this one's letting in too much sun, you can do that. So you can just, you know, leave that one partially open, fully close it, and leave the rest wherever you want. Do the same thing with all the other ones. So I think that's pretty neat. Let's close those up for now. Continuing back, we've got 2 times extra seats. And then a lav. The lavatory. Come on, X-Plane, work with me here. Lav has a toilet, which, while it doesn't visually flush, it does have a sound effect, which changes when you shut the lid. How cool is that? Just me? Okay. Think has a static animation and a sound effect. That's kind of neat. And then in this drawer here, there's a little, I believe that's a Falcon 8X. Maybe that's their next work in progress aircraft. Going back to the cockpit. As I mentioned before, it's a very nice, simple, intuitive cockpit. Everything is extremely straightforward here. Fully integrated sound suite. Custom to this aircraft. So that's pretty cool. And when you first start up the aircraft, you can hear the aircraft run through the TAWS test. You actually heard a little bit of that when I was outside earlier. So on to the EFB here. It's a relatively simple EFB, but it gets what you need, right? I don't have AviTab installed, but if you did, you could use AviTab natively in this as well. You can also manually, or well, I guess automatically drag your fuel quantities up or down in here. You can set, both calculate and set your V speeds in the aircraft. There's option suites that include everything from your general settings to your PFD, MFD, and EHSI. Your instruments. You can set different aircraft sound levels. And then there's just a general about page. Obviously, we've got all the baggage panels and all that open, so let's go ahead and close those. And then we have this option to go camera to fuel panels. So let's do that. Let's do that. Thanks, X-Plane. It'll come to me eventually. So now we're on the fuel panel, and this is that same fuel panel along the right-hand wing that we were looking at before. This is just a native custom camera view to this panel. So let's go over to the battery. And I don't know if you'll be able to see it. I'm going to zoom in real close. Keep an eye on this light and this light. And the fail actually as well. You can probably see it the best on this light here. They're super dim. It works better at night. But you can do a test should you want. Let's go ahead and refuel here though. Let's put 1,500 pounds. That should be more than enough to complete our short flight here. Right, and refuel, please. It's not going to do it because I don't have the cap off. There we go. So we're now refueling. And you can see that that's represented in real time on our EFB as well. I can also change the livery in real time on the aircraft. So if I don't like flying a 6.6 mic, I can click next. The sim freezes for a second or two. And then you'll see that our visual representation there is changed, as well as the real aircraft livery on the outside. Very nice. So that's kind of a neat little feature, a little bit gimmicky, because you can also just, you know, quickly go into the flight configuration menu, hit customize, and then change to whatever livery you might want. But anyway. It looks like we're nicely balanced. Both engines, or in both fuel tanks rather. I think that should be enough to get us to where we're going. We could maybe hold a little bit more, but that's okay. Let's go ahead and close the fuel panel. And I'm going to leave the passenger door open for our engine number 1 start. Excuse you. You're not supposed to... No. I set you to run. To run. Thank you. So in setting the engine to run, that turns on our beacon on top. Either engine to run turns on the beacon on top. Let's go ahead and turn on our battery buses as well. Give the aircraft as much power as it needs. And we'll go ahead and start engine 1. Take a listen. Look at how quick of a startup that is. Incredibly fast. So we're now generating on the second engine. So we're going to go ahead and disconnect the GPU. And we're going to close that panel for the GPU. And I'm going to close our passenger door as well. And while we're motoring on our number 2 engine, this is a good time for me to give you guys a sound profile from the outside on that number 2 engine. And we'll go sight on. And from the rear. And one more from the inside, just for funsies. So, very nice rapid response engines. X-Plane seemed to stutter a little bit there. Sorry about that. And let's watch as we start engine number 1. Watch how quickly this engine comes to life and stabilizes. It's almost like a APU motor. Love it. All right, engine starts complete. Let's go. Seatbelt sign on. Ground power is off. Let's get the environmental control system running, as well as the cabin climate. We are not running XP Realistic today. We're going to be doing a standard flight. So that way you get an idea of what the aircraft is like out of the box. Why can I not select an altitude? Thank you. All right. Arm those emergency lights. Let's figure out where we're going. I already know where we're going. What am I doing? Just going to do a direct flight. So there's our flight from Truckee Tahoe over to Reno, Nevada. Relatively short flight, but hey, we've known climate activists who fly their private jets short distances. Let's go flaps 2. We're going to do a flight level change at a speed of 180 knots. Not using ATC today. Don't have the patience. I think we're good to go. Let's go ahead, turn on the taxi light. Slap that park brake shut. Power out and come off left. Or to the right, actually. Oh god, maybe we have to do a 180. I think 180 is probably going to be our best bet. Hopefully we don't clip the CRJ wing in the process. It's a nice thing about smaller biz jet is you get a little bit more maneuverability out of it than you would like a CRJ, or I guess the Global would be the equivalent aircraft. We'll take Mike to Alpha and then Alpha down to the active there. Checking for a windsock. Yeah, it looks like winds are light, but out of the, what direction is that? North? West. Get lined up on this taxiway here and let you guys take a quick stuttery gander around the cabin here. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that explain. It's borderline unacceptable. It is unacceptable. Who am I kidding? There are options for reflections as well. That was one of the options in the options tab. So if I want to turn off reflections on my instruments and windshield, I can do that, or I can turn them back on. I will say I would recommend leaving windshield effects on, because if you turn it off, keep an eye on this, I'm assuming it's a heating strip for my windshield heat. That goes away when you turn off windshield reflections, so not super keen on that.
Takeoff. Okay.
Takeoff config is good. Aircraft's getting a little bit squirrely on me. We got a nice profile of what this thing handles like shooting out of a old Truckee Tahoe. You can't, dude. You can't, for whatever reason, get rid of this little attachment here for the tablet. It's kind of like that on most of the X-Plane aircraft that do offer it, so I won't hold anything against them for that. Alright, slanting light strobes. We'll throw on the wing lights too, just for added style points. I will say the light diffusion is better than stock X-Plane aircraft, but I just don't think it's there. You know, it's interesting for me, and this is sidetracking away from the aircraft as a whole, but X-Plane for a while had better lighting effects, in my opinion, than like FSX, and then 2020 came around and kind of killed them. Anyway, let's do a high performance takeoff here. Don't need it, but we'll pretend we do. We are at kind of a high density altitude today, so. Let's go up to max cruise. And in through Toga. Brakes are off. Gonna really need X-Plane to stop stuttering though. Alright, in through our rotation speed. Airplane leaps into the air, dab of the brakes, here come the gear. We're gonna crank out to the right. That's a lame shot. Flaps are coming up. And throw on the autopilot, let it do its thing. Engines can come back to continuous, max continuous thrust and climb. So we're set for MCT now. Flaps are fully retracted, coming in through 7,000 now. Let's bump up that speed selector to 210 knots. Very nice synthetic vision on the PFD. Your MFD is going to be it's an overlaid version, so I do have the options for this is Embraer specific, obviously, so there's definitely been work that's been done to it. But from what I can tell, it seems to be largely the same standard X-Plane 1000 navigation thing. Here's our RA call out. Not RA, our altitude alert. Landing lights can come off. And did I turn off the wing lights? This can come off as well. We're definitely not going to be needing any anti-ice. Geez, we're almost there. I was kind of kidding about a short flight, but we've covered half the distance already, and we're only increasing in speed. Looks like 320 is going to be our VNE for this aircraft. I'm going to do a accelerated descent utilizing a speed brake on the aircraft today. And we're going to line up for a westerly approach. Runway, so let's go heading hold, please. And flight level change at 210. Speed brake. You can see those overwing speed brakes extended now. There's Reno Airport down below. I think at 210 we can actually use, no, where are my flap speeds? I think we got to go down to 180. So I think 200 is my first extension. Oh, there it is. 1 is 180, so we need to, let's come down to 175. Yeah. Curtains must be open for taxi, takeoff, and landing. Don't tell me what to do. Alright, there's 180. Let's go flaps 1. And then flaps 2-3 is 70 knots, so if I go down to 165, should be good there. Very, very easy aircraft to manage as a single pilot operator. Add radios in and it gets a little bit more complex, but nothing crazy. I think we should be able to shoot this. I'm going to hit 10,000 feet. And then we're going to crank out to the right, start squaring off a short base to a long-ish final. There's 10,000. It's worth noting I don't even have my barometric pressure set correctly, so let's go 120. Just slightly inbound. Is there a VG for the aircraft? VLE is 250. So we can actually drop gear now to further aid our slowdown. And I'm going to just keep increasing that heading selection. Over to 180. We're a little bit closer than I was hoping. Nothing we can't manage, though. This is an aggressive approach. Alright, there's 160. Alright, flaps, flaps, that's the wrong key, fool. Alright, there we go. Now we should start slowing down nicely. We're gonna take that shorter runway on the left. Disengage autopilot. And flight director can go off as well. My controls, my aircraft, please. I don't see a published VSO on my placard here. So we're just going to stay inside of that white arc. We should be fine, because I remember our rotation speed was well below 140. So I would imagine we're still fast.
500. 400. 300.
Gonna leave the speed brakes out. So we need all the help we can get. Obviously a non-conventional landing for this aircraft. A little bit of a crosswind, 4 knots, we're fine. And 380 knots. Let's bring the flaps in. And let's retract our speed brake. Plane continues to shudder. That was pretty alright for our first flight. Definitely something I can work out a little bit better once I learn the aircraft characteristics, but I'm pleased with that. We're gonna turn in here, not sure what this FBO is called, but Signature Flight supports everywhere, so we'll just pretend that they have an FBO here. I think we'll pull up next to this Piaggio P180 Avani and stunt on him to remind him that he's poor. We're not. How do I want to do this? We're just gonna crank hard to the left here, to the right. God, I can't keep my directions straight. This thing's super maneuverable. All right, park brake set. Let's shut off engine 1. Bleeds and the generator. You saw when I shut off the generator, the MFD already lit up with the warning there. Did not mean to do that. We're so nicely balanced before. Let's go ahead and open up the GPU panel, turn on the GPU. Ground power's on. Shutting down engine 2. Hydraulic pump can go to off. Generator 2 can go to off. We're going to keep running on the GPU for now. And I think the rest is all kosher. Can I not open the passenger door? Thank you. And that is a quick little hop around in the Phenom 300. What a nice airplane. Shame that X-Plane kind of killed the experience, but Aerobasket, I think you did a pretty good job here. Is it worth 50 bucks? I don't know. You guys can make that decision for yourself. That's what it costs as of recording. So make your final choices there. But that's going to do it for this video. Thank you guys very much for watching. I will see you in the next one, and as always, take it easy.